Investing can be a daunting or even outright scary proposition, but what happens when we reach retirement age and don't have any money to rely on? The vast majority of Americans don't think Social Security is going to be enough, but retirement investing is a foreign language. You get on these websites and there's none of it that makes any sense. It's a really huge, scary thing to try to start out with. But if you don't have a good investment plan, when you go to retire, you're not going to have the money to retire comfortably, and could end up in a lot of financial trouble. So retirement investing is a thing we need to do. You should be investing for your retirement, but why? So a few years ago, the US military went through a major overhaul of the retirement system. And through that process, one of my major jobs was teaching people how to deal with a reduced pension, how to deal with the investment tools that the military was rolling out. This is something that I care very deeply about and put a lot of time into. When it comes right down to it, though, the things we need to understand is that we need to invest. That's the takeaway here. You should be investing in your retirement. So what we're going to look at today is the cause of the inaction. Why is it that we don't invest? Why aren't we taking care of ourselves, really? The solution that will make that work itself out and get us moving. What it comes down to is you should be investing for retirement. So the problem, we need to invest, but investing is terrifying. It's a huge, scary thing that is just really out there, very daunting. In the student survey I put out for this project, 94% of those of you that replied said that you didn't believe Social Security was going to be enough. You didn't think that the government was going to be able to support your retirement, which means that we should be investing, right? And that's what that comes down to. Again, there's a lot of risk. There's a lot of scary things out there. According to Robert Hardwood's book, Investing for Retirement, there are some risks even with a good investment plan. And those are longevity, if you end up living longer than you expected to. Market risk, because investing, again, is a risky proposition. Inflation, which comes down to if your investments are not keeping up with the rate of inflation, then you're losing money, which is what savings accounts do for you. Poor tax planning, if you don't understand the difference between pre-tax investments versus post-tax investments and things like that. Health cost, because who needs to go into retirement, get really sick, and suddenly be financially destitute? Incorrect financial advice, because there's a lot of advice out there. There are millions and millions of websites that'll tell you how to do this right that may not be for you, and they may not understand fully what you're going through. And investment-related fees, things that you didn't know were part of the investment account that you ended up in. When it comes right down to it, 60% of middle-class retirees outlive their income, outlive their retirement savings, according to an Ernst & Young study in 2008. There's something to consider in there that if you have a pension or something like that, that may offset some of the cost, but that's all a personal, that's all up to your specific situation. That's depending on what you have or don't have. So why aren't more people saving if this is such an important thing? It comes down to two things, really. The first is fear or misunderstanding of the investment process, because again, there's a ton of stuff out there and it may not be for you. There's so much advice that it's almost overwhelming. There's so many different tools, there's so many different investment vehicles that it's impossible to really boil that down to something that you can understand easily. So fear or misunderstanding is a huge part of this. The other part of this is, according to a Forbes article written by Larry Light, that a lot of us see the future as unreal, that our future selves will deal with this problem, that we somehow divest ourselves of the responsibility for our future, and that's just patently untrue. With the misunderstanding, half of the respondents on this survey didn't understand the difference between a 401k and an IRA, which are the two biggest investment vehicles out there right now. So between not understanding and somehow psychologically pushing this whole problem down the road, we end up in a position where we're retiring with no money and not able to retire, and you end up working much later, and there's all kinds of horrible effects. So what do we do? What's the solution here? And the solution is to act. The solution is to start investing. Even if it's a small amount of money, even if it may not be the perfect way to start, it is to do something, it is to get in the game. Because even a bad plan is better than no plan. Even some savings is better than no savings. But the reality is, if you want to live comfortably, if you want to retire the way that all of us want to retire, you need to do that smartly. So according to Carolyn O'Hara in an article for AARP in 2015, 85 to 95% of your annual income when you go to retire is what you need every year to retire on. That should cover all of your retirement plans, your medical problems, things like that. But how long are you going to need that retirement? You know, when are you going to die? And it's a question none of us can answer, which means you need to invest more than what the conventional wisdom really says. It means when it comes time for retirement, you need to be more prepared than what a lot of the internet will tell you, which is a problem in its own right. In an article for The Balance by Dana Anspash, this really comes down to the right way to do this is to understand the risk. It's to set reasonable expectations. If you're working a $100,000 a year job before you retire, you can't be spending $1 million a year once you retire. So setting reasonable expectations is a huge part of success. Understanding the risk is another. The market is inherently risky, and as you get closer to that retirement, you need to understand what your risk level really is and what you can do to reduce that. All of that can be answered by talking to a financial advisor and getting educated. There's no way to just jump on the internet and suddenly come out after an afternoon being a retirement expert. A financial advisor, or more than one, so you can make sure that you didn't get the wrong one, can really help you get over the hump and get you to the point that you legitimately understand what you know and what you don't know and what your plan is, because you have to have a plan. There are a lot of risks to a good savings plan, but the risk with no savings plan is absolute failure. It just doesn't work. You have to start investing at whatever age you can, as soon as you possibly can. So when it comes down to it, what we're looking at here is why you need to invest, why we don't invest, and why a lot of us are behind in that, and what the right answer is. And the right answer is to start investing in your retirement, is to start understanding what it is going forward. This can be a big, scary monster all at once, but at the end of the day, when you turn 65, 70, whatever age it is you want to stop working, you need to have a way to do that, or you're going to find yourself in a very, very bad position. Bottom line, you should be investing for your retirement, and if you haven't started already, there's no time like the present. Any amount of money, any vehicle whatsoever, just get started, get out there, get educated, find the right plan for you, understand what your future looks like, and get help, because this isn't a thing that any of us can do alone. Thank you.